Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So in last episode, we had a pretty weak draft. It wasn't the best class. There wasn't really a ton of options for us to take. So we only managed to have four selections in this draft. And our first round selection ended up being a good overall, but a lower potential. So at least he's okay. But in general, it was probably the worst draft class we've had yet, and I'm hoping for obviously a future draft that's actually good for us, because if it's going to continue like this from here on out, it's going to be very tough for us to build up this team just via the draft, so we might have to change up rules down the road if that continues to be the factor in this series. But you can see we weren't able to sign 3 of our picks because basically they weren't Asians, and then these guys obviously are all going to be in the system. I'm hoping Irabu could kind of outgrow his potential because he's only got that C potential. Maybe Lim has a chance to outgrow that potential considering he's only 18 as well. Same goes with like Tom Ann. And an Ishii is kind of a not great player, but he does have some solid contact against lefties, so maybe he'll become something decent for like AA and just give us a little bit more depth at catcher in a sense. So I'm okay with this draft, but I don't think it was obviously a good draft for us, and I hope that, like I said, the future drafts are a lot better because it's very tough to build up a roster when you can't even target specific areas. Like, we've been drafting a lot of pitchers the last few years. We haven't gotten much infielders and stuff like that, so hoping for some drafts that we could actually draft some infielding players in areas of need, and also ones that will develop into being something decent, so that way we actually have depth in each position if possible. But anyways, let's get in your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will get into going through another off season and seeing where we're drafting next year and taking a look at the upcoming draft class. Like, hopefully it's a good draft class ahead, and hopefully we have the first overall pick just like we did this season. So the first comment is from Ryan DeSharkey, who says yearly Louis inspection. And yeah, let's take a look at where Louis is at the moment, just because he's got a cool name, so we're going to keep tabs on him as much as we can. Player search. And let's just type in Louis, and hopefully we can find him quite easily. And there he is. So he's with Baltimore and already playing in the majors? Or did he? He shouldn't be in the majors already. He might be in single A, actually. Right? Yeah, he's in Class A. So that's why it's showing him as Baltimore, because they don't have the rights to Class A teams, I guess. But yeah, there he is currently at the moment. He's up to a 52 at 18. He is getting growth. So who knows? Louis might be a major league player someday. And it's kind of funny, for some reason, always when I say Louis, I don't know if it's actually Louis. It probably is Louis because he's from the States. But for you Canadian viewers, if you guys are from like Ontario or Quebec, there was like a play thing I remember doing in like public school called Louis la Grenouille, which means Louis the Frog, or Louis the Frog, I guess. I don't know why I always just think of that when I say Louis. So it's just kind of weird. I don't know if anybody even knows about that, because I think that was the thing way back when I was in probably public school. So that's like approaching like 20 years ago, but it's still something that I remember about when I hear Louis. So kind of a funny little memory with Louis involved. And the last and final comment is from Nick Bucker Barons OC, who says, what a horrible class for us. No real choices. Shaking my head. And yeah, it was a horrible class for sure. Not a lot of prospects, and then the guys that we did want, like that closer that was supposed to go like undrafted, he didn't even show up in the draft because it has to be the first 200 players on your list and stuff like that, which really sucks. So I'm hoping that some of them are available in next year's draft and actually get draft eligible. If they don't, maybe we'll have to sign some of them in free agency and say that we're allowed to pick them up via free agency if they actually go undrafted or something like that as well. So anyways, there is that. So I think we're ready to get into this episode, which means starting off with some contract extensions already. Because I was looking, and you can see that Parker Iwamura is the big one that needs a contract extension already. He's 24 years old. He only has 3 more years of arbitration left. And that's what kind of scares me, is obviously we don't want a player like his repertoire basically testing free agency right away. So we're probably already going to give him an 8-year extension, and we're probably going to make it front loaded, so that way it gets cheaper and cheaper each year, and then he'll be signed till he's 32, which is pretty nice. These other guys, obviously I could take time still with them, because obviously you could see like Leonard Soto still has 4 years before he becomes a free agent. Tom Lee probably has quite a while. Yeah, Tom Lee still has like 6+ years, so The other guys I don't need to worry too much about right now, but Parker Iwamura especially, I'd say, is somebody that I don't want to be going to free agency faster than he should be. So we're already going to give him a pretty big extension. So I am going to do a front-loaded deal. So if I go 2 years, let's go to front-loaded. Basically, I have to, I think it was, give him I think it was like $170 something million, if I remember right. So I am going to go down through the lower chunk of this first, so that way we can get to the high-end money as fast as possible. It's going to take a lot of scrolling, but it'll be worth it. So we're going to go up to 8 years on him, and we're just going to keep scrolling on this for a while here until it gets down to where we should offer him, which I believe was an average of like $21.2 million a year, which is not too bad. A good starting point, and then obviously it will drop off every single season, which is nice as well. While we have a lot of money, we're allowed to do some front-loaded contracts, and it will help us out quite a bit, because those guys that we're paying a big money to, they'll be cheaper later on in their careers. So the only thing I'm a little bit worried about is I'm not too sure if Parker Iwamura is going to drop off by the time he's 32. I feel like he should be able to. And then he'll be cheaper in his next contract, but obviously it's still kind of scary that he could become a free agent by the time he's 32. Like, that's another thing we're going to have to worry about, is at some stage we might end up losing some players to free agency, Rule 5, that type of thing. So it is a lot of scrolling just to give him his contract, but obviously it's worth it considering it's Parker Iwamura, and he deserves to be here long term. He is currently our ace as well, so might as well give him a good little chunk of change. So I will try and get him for $170 million on the dot, I think. Yeah. So $170 million, so that way 21.2 a year. And like I said, that would be for the first season, I guess. And then afterwards it will drop down a little bit, I'm pretty sure. So it is a lot at first, but obviously it gets cheaper each year. And he should be even getting better as the team gets better as well around him. So I think this is a nice little contract. So let's see if he'll accept. And cannot afford it at this time. Why can't I afford it at this time? Why can't I afford it? Let me go to less. I don't know why I can't afford it. Maybe I have to wait till the off season to do it? Because I should be able to afford it, because this team should have a lot of budget. Let me try 166. Still can't afford it. You're telling me I can't afford these long-term extensions already? I'm going to have to wait till the off season? These players are eligible for extensions beyond the current year. Interesting. Maybe I'll wait on a couple of those guys, but let's get a couple of these other cheap options signed up here, just because might as well do that already. But I guess I can't give Iwamura his big money yet. We will do it, I think, in this episode still, but that's kind of annoying, because that's what I wanted to start off this episode with, like a bang, so to speak. Yu Chang eventually is going to get replaced at some point, but we'll still give him the 4.3 if he wants, or actually a little bit more than that. He wants a few years on this deal, which kind of sucks, but we got to hold on to him for now. Let's go 2 years and talk you down to 7.2. There you go. And then we'll get the guy that we picked up in the Rule 5 draft signed for a couple of years as well. Wow, Walter Cho's already trying to get... $780K a year is actually really not that bad, so let's just get Cho signed up. Easy to get some of these guys signed up for a few years. And I won't worry about the low overall guys just yet either. Sasaki, let's see if I could get him for 2.2. He wants longer contract. Okay, that's fine. 2-year deal. Bang, boom, that's good. And yeah, we'll wait, I guess, till the offseason for Parker Iwamura. I don't know why I can't offer him that much money yet, because I should have the budget. Because we don't have that much. We have a lot of cap space, I'm pretty sure. Unless for some reason our budget has been knocked down a lot. Nah, we should be able to offer him that once we get to the offseason. Alright, anyway, so that's that. Let's go to AAA, or AA actually, to start off with, and see how AA finishes off their season, so we could take a look at some player stats. And then, of course, we'll get through AAA as well. And the major leagues is AA just won the game, which is nice, 9-7. They're not still having a good year. It'll be interesting to see who ends up making the playoffs first, if it's double, triple, or the MLB team. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Walter Cho sustained a bruised ribs. That's okay, but that kind of sucks. Considering he's now in the major leagues. He's no longer injured. Let's go auto-utilize. Just make sure he's in the lineup, because I don't want to make sure he is I don't want him scratched, or not scratched, so to speak, but I don't want him playing a position he shouldn't be. He's still really struggling since coming up to the MLB, but it's at this point, it makes sense for him to be in the MLB due to his age, so we'll just keep him up here. Won Young Chang's been injured with some back stiffness, out for a few days. Let's go auto on that as well. And now he's back. That's good. And now we have to do some September call-ups, I believe, right? Yes, we do. Okay, so how much players do we need to call up here? 3 players. So let's go to 40-man roster and call up some no-name guys. So we'll call up this Christian De Montes guy to the MLB. We will also call up Willie Ziberinski. I don't even know how to pronounce your name, but actually, wait, I could probably try and pronounce it. Zabaizinski. Zabaizinski? Yeah, probably. Zibinski. Yeah, maybe it's Zabinski. And we'll also call up, do I have a, actually, I don't have enough space for pitchers probably in MLB. I should probably call up an actual, like, infielder or something. Not somebody I drafted, though, because I don't want them up here. Not just yet. We'll also add Mike Salvatore to our 40-man and call him up. Hopefully we don't have to sign some more players for double or triple A, because that'll be kind of annoying. Alright, let's see if I could get through the rest of the double A season. Let's see. Aviators don't have a number of positional players on their team. So that's triple A that needs some more players on their roster. So let's go to double A. And let's go... Let's call up Munoz to triple. And see if that will solve the problem for now. I gotta adjust our lineups now. God damn, this is annoying as hell when I have to constantly make these changes. Yeah, I'll just do that. I don't really care if some of these guys are not playing in their positions because they're guys I didn't draft anyways, so that's good there. And we will do the same with this guy. There you go. That should be good. We should be able to continue assimilating without any problem. And apparently double A needs more positional players, which means we got to call up guys from single A, which means Richard Chen, you could go play some baseball in double A for a little bit. I know you were on single A. That should help us enough. Let's do that. Boom. Okay, good. All right, Takashi has been injured with a pulled hamstring. Of course, we get an injury out 1 to 2 weeks auto on that. Yu Chang is back from injury. That's good. Let's just go auto on that as well. And we have 29 players on our roster, which means we need to send somebody down from the MLB team. Let's just send Mike Salvatore back down to AAA here. And that should be good. Now we should be able to simulate this. Raymond Park is no longer injured. Let's go auto-utilize on that for now. Oh my goodness. The amount of injuries that still happen every year is actually kind of outrageous. But it is what it is. Hey, we actually played pretty good near the end of the season in AA. 4 wins in our last little bit of the season. So the AA team finishes 10-59. Let's take a look at some AA stats so you guys can give me some ideas for some potential boosts to potential and that type of thing. So starting off with the man Kaz, we'll call him Kaz instead of Kazuhito because Kaz sounds like a cool nickname. Kaz Hayashi, 3.33 ERA, a 1.23 whip, a 6-12 record, and he's up to a 69 at 20. I think he's definitely AAA bound next season. 28 games started, 12 quality starts, not bad, a 4.4 WAR. So pretty solid year from Kazuhito Hayashi. And yeah, I think he's definitely going to be AAA bound next year, which is great. In terms of relief pitchers, Charles Nakamura, a 4.31 ERA, a 1.35 whip, not bad. A 3-3 record. Not too bad at all. Up to a 54 at 18. I'll take that. Tommy Wong was really good. 5-4 record, a 3.06 ERA, and a 1.13 whip. He was really good, yes. Up to a 60 at 18. So some good stats from some of our relievers here as well. Won Yang Chang, a 3-4 record, a 4.15 ERA, and a 1.27 whip. Not bad. He is a deep potential guy, so maybe he gets a little bit of a boost to help him not drop off too fast. Eric Yamashita, a 3-6 record, a 4.44 ERA, and a 1.37 whip. Probably the worst of the bunch, but he did still win 3 games, which is nice. Up to a 61 at 20. Did start a game as a pitcher as well, so that's probably why some of his stats look maybe a little bit mid. It wasn't a quality start as well, so Maybe that's why he kind of dropped a little bit. Eric Yamamoto, a 5-3 record, which is nice, but the 4.65 ERA in a 1.53 whip ain't the best. He is up to a 64 overall, though. So we're getting some good growth from a lot of these pitchers. And an Austin Choi as a closer, even though he's a reliever. 1-3 record, 3.05 ERA and a 1.26 whip. Let's see. 19 saves, 2 blown saves. That's a pretty good ratio. So Austin Choi did actually not too bad as a closer, I would say, in my opinion. Terms of batters in Double-A, Russell Yang batted a .283 this season with 12 home runs, 66 RBIs. That's pretty good. 776 OPS. He was one of the better players on this Double-A team in terms of batting. Only a .1 WAR, but still. That might have been definitely Russell's best season. He is up to a 59, but obviously he's 25 already, so I don't see him as a major league player in the future, but you never know. He could continue growing at this rate. Robert Yabu, a .283 average as well. Less home runs than Russell Yang and RBIs, but still a good batting average, up to a 61 at 23. Yeah, he also had a pretty good year. Maybe the WAR is better? No, the WAR is actually worse than Yang is, so... Yeah, Yabu had an okay season as well. Not bad from the top two guys. Mark Taguchi, 11 home runs and 56 RBIs. A .255 average ain't bad. Yeah, 736 OPS. Taguchi had a pretty solid year, and also the best WAR out of the three guys so far in the top of the order. Charles Nomo, 20 home runs for Charles this year. That's actually nice to see. 53 RBIs, a .239 average. So his batting average a little low, but 20 home runs is really nice. And he's up to a 69 at 22, which means he's probably AAA bound next year. Batting not batting 753. He had a 753 OPS, a 2.5 WAR, which is by far the best out of the top four guys. Yokoyama, 258 average, 47 RBIs, 9 home runs, up to a 66 at 22. Yeah, he had an okay season. OPS is a little bit lower than some of the other guys, but a positive WAR, which is great. So Yokoyama doing his job. Philip Nishi, in his second season, a .214 average is pretty damn low, but 36 RBIs, 9 home runs ain't terrible. But obviously, yeah, that batting average needs to improve a lot. It's probably because, yeah, his vision and discipline still needs a lot of work. And he actually had a positive WAR, though, so that's really positive to take away from that. I'll like that. Walter Choi, a .201 average. Oof. A 3 home run season and 33 RBIs. He was definitely one of the weaker ones in terms of batting. And he actually had a positive WAR, though, too, so that's at least good. But the average is low. The on-base percentage is solid, so I think that's probably where it helped him out a little bit. William Chung, 9 home runs, 54 RBIs, a .231 average. That's not terrible. How was his WAR and stuff? Negative 1.1. He is coming back from a couple injury-riddled seasons, so it is what it is. Up to a 58 at 22. He is definitely taking his time, but hopefully he makes the major leagues at some point. Raymond Park, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs, a .236 average. His average is at least improving, because he used to be like a guy that would hit home runs and get RBIs, but not have a solid average. Like he'd have like a 200 average, but now up to a .236. He's making some positive gains a little bit, which is good. And then we had Richard Chen, who had to play a little bit since getting called up from Single A. He had a .294 average through 17 at-bats. And he had his first home run, 2 RBIs. He had strike out 5 times, but not too bad from Richard Chen in that short span. I like it. So there is the Double-A roster, which means now let's flip to Triple-A, which has won 21 games this year and is going into their final series against, who is this? Sugarland. Where the hell is Sugarland? I don't think I've ever heard of the place called Sugarland. You guys got to let me know where Sugarland is, because I honestly have no idea. That's a weird name for a place. Let's go auto on that. Wow, what a series against Sugarland so far. That's really good to see. We win 4 of those 6 games against Sugarland. And our AAA team finishes 25 and 125 on the season. So 25 wins for AAA. That's really good to see. Let's take a look at the AAA stats. So Walter Jung, who got sent down, obviously, because he was not doing good in the major leagues, finishes with a 3-7 record. which is not the greatest record, but 14 games started. He did have 6 quality starts, had an okay ERA and an okay whip. But I wouldn't say he lit up the world, but hopefully he comes back to majors next season and does a lot better. 1.9 more. It's an okay little bit of a stretch for him in AAA. Stan Nguyen, though, was really solid. 3 ERA, 1.07 whip, and a 3-14 record. Obviously, that record sucks, but he's definitely major league bound next season, which means our pitching is going to make us win some games, I think, soon. More than normal, which is great. But I am a little bit concerned still, obviously, about our batting in the MLB. But Stan Nguyen, pretty good year. 30 games started and 17 quality starts. So, yeah, Stan had a great year. Stan the man. David Nah, not the best year for David. He's up to a 74, which is great, but a 4-18 record, a 4.67 ERA, and a 1.34 whip. 30 games started. 12 quality starts isn't really that bad. He did definitely struggle a little bit this year, but he almost had half of his games be quality starts at least, so that's not terrible to take away from it. Robert Matsui, same type of boat, not the best. 2-15 record, a 4.3 ERA, and a 1.51 whip. Up to 74 at 23. 30 games started and 8 quality starts, so he was not the best this year, but that's okay. And then Vincent Tan, a 4.07 ERA and a 1.34 whip in his first season. Obviously, he jumped right to AAA this season. He never even played in AA, so he could play in AA if we really want to get him even better, faster. But 6-20 record, 30 games started, and he had 15 quality starts. So his stats definitely don't look the best, but having 15 quality starts in his first season for me is a dub for sure. Because obviously that guy just got thrown into the fire as a top 5 guy in AAA, so not bad. In terms of our relievers, Akio Yamamoto, 3-12 record, a 4.25 ERA and a 1.39 whip. Not the best for a reliever, but still not terrible. The WAR was negative, so a little bit of a rough year for Akio, it looks like to me. Hiroyuki Yamada also kind of had a little bit of a rough year, but obviously he could do better next season. Let's take a look at that WAR. The WAR was positive, so at least he was better than Akio Yamamoto, in my opinion. And we also have our closer, Philip Chung, who looks like he had an okay year. He's up to a 75 at 20. Philip Chung is very close to being major league bound as well. So our pitching is going to be pretty good soon, I think, in the MLB. But then you get to like the hitting, and it's going to be kind of all over the place, I think. But still, at least we're getting some good growth. So let's take a look. Actually, I wanted to take a look at the blown saves and stuff. 15 saves, 7 blown saves. He did blow a lot of saves, but the AA team, our AAA team probably wasn't the best at times. But 15 saves, not bad. Yeah, solid year for the guys in AAA. Let's take a look at the batters in AAA now. Theodore Lee in his first season, who obviously jumped AA, a 268 average is pretty good. I like it. It's at least above 250. He had 47 RBIs and 8 home runs. He is more of a contact guy. Did have a negative WAR, but for a first season in AAA, it's not terrible, but it's not fantastic either. So we'll see if he honestly gets a better year next year, because he is dropping a little bit against contact against lefties, which is kind of weird. But I think after a season like this, maybe he gets a little bit of growth or something like that, and maybe he won't drop off in some areas anymore. Yamazaki, a 267 average. He had a pretty good year. 19 home runs, 54 RBIs. Yeah, Peter Yamazaki is also very close to being a major leaguer, which is great. Because most of the guys that are in our major league team are pitcher related. So it's good to see a catcher almost ready to go. Yeah, he probably will be on the major league team next season, I feel like. He's good at hitting fastballs, good at playing at home. Does still have 2 minor league options, so. Tom Lee, holy crap. Tom Lee had a great year. The average is a little low, but he had 36 home runs. That's a lot of home runs for Tom Lee. 93 RBIs as well. So Tom Lee is looking like a pretty good player. And it looks like he might be going up to A potential soon too at some point. But obviously a low average, but the OPS and all that stuff, fantastic. Yeah, good stuff from Tom Lee. It'll be interesting to see if he actually finished top in home runs in AAA. Stanley Oka had a solid-ish season. 500 at-bats, which is a lot. 4 home runs, 31 RBIs. Low average. OPS ain't the best. I wouldn't say it was a great year for Oka, but he's only 19. He should get better, but obviously that's not really necessarily what you need from him. But at some point, I think he'll have a good year ahead of him. David Sasaki, still a great RBI hitter. Also can pick up some home runs, but the average is still very low. So we still need to get that vision and discipline up there for him, but he could definitely drive in some runs, which is good, and that helped out his WAR quite a bit. Up to a 69 overall at 21. Vincent Seo, 11 home runs, 36 RBIs, a 227 average. We have a lot of guys that are getting close to major league level, which is nice. Even if they're struggling in AAA. Like, a lot of these guys are almost in their 70 overall range, so it's nice. And then from the bench, there was nobody. So that is it for our prospect pool. Let's get the rest of the MLB season done, and then we can take a look at Parker Iwamura's stats and also some of the relievers. See how we wrap up this season. Auto on that. Auto on that. And we do win our last game of the season, so we finished 7 in 155. Last year, I think we had, how much wins? 8 wins, or was it 10 wins that we got last year? I think it was 8 wins we got last year, so a little bit worse than last year, I think, but at least we're still kind of maintaining ourselves in a sense. The last win of the season went to Chi Young Liu. Okay. Let's take a look at our player stats in the major leagues. So Parker Iwamura, a 1-25 record, which obviously is not great, but let's take a look at his individual stats here. 32 games started, 5.64 ERA, 1.52 WHIP is not great. 14 quality starts. So he definitely had a little bit of a down year compared to last year, I would say. Last year was a lot better quality start-wise, and his WAR was also better, but it was better than his first season, so he's not regressing too much. His FIP also got worse from last year, but I think he's definitely still going to be good once his team actually starts to develop well enough, because obviously the team around him is kind of mid still, so Parker Iwamura, not too bad. Chi Young Liu, who we took in the Rule 5, won 3 games this year, which is nice. He did drop off after last year because we had to lower his potential, but he did start 33 games this year, had 6 quality starts. His FIP was not super good. He might have had some better underlining numbers than anticipated. And then those other guys don't matter. Walter Cho, who got called up, actually managed to fix his ERA a bit, but his WHIP is still pretty high. He did hold 1 game, which is good. Alright. And his FIP was, not the best, but, I mean, he is getting old, so kind of makes sense. What else we got here? Leonard Soto. Pretty good year for Leonard Soto. He did start a game as a pitcher, which is kind of weird, but his ERA, worse than last year. His WHIP was better than last year, though. And then if you look at his FIP, it was a little bit worse than last year, but it's still in a very good spot. So, yeah, Leonard Soto's still playing pretty good. And he's up to a 78 already at 23, so he's going to be a really good reliever. And I'm going to have to lock him up for sure long-term as well. Fujinami doesn't matter too much. Tom Koo. Pretty solid stats for Tom Koo. Yeah, Tom Koo had a better ERA and a better WHIP than last year. And then also his FIP was also improved from last year. So a couple of relievers doing relatively well in the major league. Obviously, Walter Young just got called up because I guess they call up players at the end of the season. So that doesn't matter too much. In terms of batters, do we have anybody to look at? Yeah, we do. Kevin Sato, his first season in the MLB, finishes with a 289 batting average. Only the 2 home runs, only the 29 RBIs, but we don't get a lot of guys on base. But he does make a lot of contact with the ball. And yeah, he had a pretty solid season, I would say, for a 71 overall. So Kevin Sato, pretty good year. Brian Chu, who must have been our All-Star representative because of that crown, I guess. I don't really know what that crown means. He had a 213 average. Not too bad. Not terrible. Not a great WAR, but still an okay season. Not the best average-wise. Hopefully that improves in the future years, but that's okay. Takashi, who we took in the Rule 5, a 237 average. So Hideki Takeyashi looking pretty good too. However, we do have Yamazaki, who should be the catcher next season, so we might have to run 2 of these guys in the major league or something like that. Brian Shin, 227 average, also another Rule 5 pickup. Man, we have so many guys. I'm already 30 minutes into this episode, and I've only looked at player stats. roughly. God damn. And these other guys like Sasaki and stuff don't matter too much because those guys were Rule 5 pickups as well. I mean, Yu Chang batted a 261, but he's 34 years old, so it's not going to matter too much. All right, so there is our player stats. Now let's find out who ends up winning the World Series, because I don't think we had any award winners because it didn't pop up with any notifications. But I do want to take a look at how close we were to winning a Rookie of the Year potentially. We weren't close, okay. So Omar Rodriguez jumped in and knocked one of our guys out. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. All right, let's see who wins the World Series in 2030. Yep, the Yankees have beaten the Cardinals, so the New York Yankees are your World Series champs. I don't really care about the World Series stats, so let's continue through that. We need to hire some coaches and all that. Man, this offseason is going to take a while. We did have some retirements as per usual, which means I'm going to have to write these down because they're also not going to remember what we need to sign. We might not even need to sign much anymore because we're getting to that point where we have a ton of prospects. So I'm going to just still write down anyways what I am going to be losing to retirement, which is 1 shortstop, 1 third baseman, 1 second baseman, and we lost 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pitchers. Oh, we always lose a ton of pitchers. And we didn't lose anybody that we drafted, so that's at least good. All right, so that's all good and ready to go. No Hall of Fame inductees. Let's get some coaches signed up because we need a hitting coach, a pitching coach, a farm director, and a first base coach. So a lot of new coaches for this team. We'll try and sign some okay coaches so that way our prospects get the best that they could get if they're in the major leagues. So that was a hitting coach. We need a pitching coach as well. Let's go down a little bit down the list so we can find some cheaper options maybe. Let's go with you, sure. I don't really care too much. Eventually I will care. First base and a farm director. Let's see. We'll sign you up. Sure. A lot of them are getting a lot of interest. And a farm director. Let's go down here. Let's try Sai Gin or whatever this person's name is. Perfect. They all have full interest, which is nice. Okay, so that's all good. Let's into the first stage of free agency. And we should be good with that. Let's stop simulating for a second. Just let me see if there's anything I need to do here. Yeah, that's good. Okay, perfect. We got all the coaches. So that's awesome. Don't care too much about that. Let's get to the contract stuff. So Ira Murrah, can I offer him his contract now that we were thinking of offering him at the beginning of this episode? Even though it feels like it was an eternity ago that I was trying to offer him that contract. So we got to go all the way to max, and then we just got to keep scrolling. I hope I could offer him it now, because I really just need him locked up. And you guys know this too. He's going to maybe want more than last time, but still, let's see if we could offer him a 8-year extension. Because might as well lock him up while we have the opportunity to. Because I don't want him testing free agency and leaving this team. And then our team just never finds a way to make it to the playoffs. So might as well lock him up while he's our ace. We definitely have a lot of other pitchers that are going to be more expensive down the road too. This takes so damn long to scroll though. I wish there was a way to like just type in the number instead. Like this salary type part is actually slower than NHL's now. Because NHL's salary thing is so much faster when you're scrolling through this. But MLB, you have to like wait like 10 years to scroll to like 100 and whatever million we were going to. I think it was 170. Yeah, we should be able to offer him in now, I think, which is good. And then we'll get through all these other contract extensions, find out where we're drafting and stuff. I probably don't need to sign too much AIs, which is good, or random AI people. So we'll get this to 170 million around. Actually, yeah, he's going to ask for a little bit more, it looks like, this time around. We might have to do 180 million instead, which is okay with me. That's 22.5, so like it's a million extra a year. Let's try it. Let's offer that to him and see if he'll accept that. We'll probably just sign all these other guys as well, just to keep our roster afloat of players. If we need to cut some of them, we will. But we just need to make sure we have enough roster players for next season. Because I think we're getting to the stage where we have enough players almost that we drafted, but still, we're going to need more. So we'll sign up Zabinski, or whatever your name was, Strong. Probably I'll cut out some of this out of the episode, or the other contract stuff, but I don't think we have as much contracts to deal with this year. Actually, out of these, we do. Probably some of the other contracts I'll have to do a lot more on. Wow, why was Reader trying to get so much? Or was it just starting at 13 million? I don't know why it was up that high. We'll get you for 2.4. And we also have this person as well that will do a 1-year deal too. So there you go. That's all good. Perfect. Okay. Tendered contracts. This is where there's a lot of players, right? Yeah. Okay. So this part I'm going to cut out of the episode. I'm going to just re-sign everybody fast as possible. And then that way we don't have this episode being like 2 hours long or whatever. So I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, guys. So all the contracts were offered. Arbitration stuff is good still. 40-man roster. We're going to have to add some players to our 40-man roster this year, including William Chung, who's definitely not Major League ready yet, but he's going to still get added because he's a potential. So got to get Stan on there. Stan will be in the MLB team likely next season, which is exciting. So we'll add him to our 40-man for sure. And we got to get Nomo on there. Nomo is probably not MLB ready yet. He probably had still run with Takashi for 1 more year, and then Nomo might be able to take his spot. At least I would think. But I'll still add Nomo, of course, to the 40-man. And then William Chung as well. Yeah, William Chung's definitely not Major League ready, but he'll still be added. Boom. There we go. So that's all good. And that's all good too. Hopefully Iramur accepts that contract. And then I'll offer him arbitration if for some reason he doesn't want to accept that. But he should be able to accept that. Let's skip through a couple of that thing. Actually, let's skip a couple of days here. Just see if Iramur's said anything yet, which he hasn't. Let's just continue to simulate the free agency too. And then let's go stop simulating here. And Iwamura accepted. Iwamura has accepted an 8-year extension. Let's go look at that. So Parker Iwamura will be getting paid this much. You guys could say that might be an overpayment, but we're doing front-loaded contracts. So he starts by making $30 million, which is a lot of money, of course. But by the end of his 8-year tenure, he's only going to be making 14.3, which if he's like a 90-plus overall, is a good contract, I would say. A little bit expensive, but he is our ace right now. And who knows, maybe he will end up living up to that expectation and winning maybe a Cy Young during that span. So, never know. Depends on, I guess, the quality of the team around him at that point. All those guys are still good. We already offered contracts to all those guys. Yep, we're good. We are good. Parker Iramur was the big one, of course. And no, let's stop there. Ken DeJesus still hasn't accepted, but he definitely should be accepting here shortly. Russell Yang is still contemplating for some weird reason. He will accept probably soon. Because if he doesn't, that's kind of dumb. Alright. Yeah, let's stop simulating. Just double check on these contracts. Yep, perfect. Which means now we can get through the rest of this offseason a little bit quicker. And I don't think I'm going to need to sign too much in terms of players. Like, I might have to leave some of that for the next episode or whatever. We should have enough roster players almost at this stage, you would think. Even if we did lost a lot of pitchers to retirement, I feel like we might still need to sign like a couple pitchers, but not terrible. Not like prior years where we had to sign like 15. Okay, so that's good on that front. Let's send to the Rule 5 draft and see if there's anybody we could actually take in this year's draft. Last year we found some good ones. But we do actually first have the draft lottery, which is most important. Once again, we have the best odds as we have had for the first 7 years of the series. We've only won the draft lottery 1 time. Is this another first overall pick for our team, or are we going to fall somehow and it is going to be a generational Japanese guy in this year's draft and that's going to screw us up, or what? Let's see where we're drafting. Is it going to be back-to-back first overall picks for the Tropic Turtles? Come on, boys. Let's see if we're going to hit. And no, we don't. We fall to 4th. Yikes. Well, I hope that there's like a Japanese guy that's going to be really good that just falls out of the top 3 or something like that. Because if there's a generational one that's supposed to go first overall, I might scream a little bit. But there you go. We fall to 4th. We've only won the draft lottery 1 time, which is kind of a joke at this point, but is what it is. Alright, so let's go to the Rule 5 draft now and see if there's anything we could take. Last year we took 2 players in the Rule 5, so let's see if there's actually some stuff we could take in this year's one. Oh no. Oh, William Yokoyama got put on there as well. It didn't even mention him I feel like he's going to get taken by a team if I don't add him, so I think I might have to add him. Yeah, I think I already got to take my boy. Oh no. If my boy gets taken, I'm going to be pissed off because it didn't show me that he was an important player. It showed other guys that were like 12 overall. Why didn't you show me this guy? God damn it. I feel like Yokoyama could get taken, and that's not a great thing at all. That could be a really bad for this team. Well, let's take a look and see what there is in case there's anything else out there. Oh boy. I might have to make a decision to try and trade back for him even if we don't make trades in the series, because that was a major mistake potentially. So Oka's there, this pitcher, 68 at 32. Is there anybody better than 68? Looking for Asian talent here. Doesn't look like it. A relief pitcher, closing pitcher. No, doesn't look like it. Catcher. You probably don't really need a catcher anyways. Raymond Park is also eligible. Oh boy, I don't know why all my prospects are there. That, like, why didn't it show me that those guys were going to be potential guys? Oh man. Yeah, I feel like Yokoyama could get claimed, and I'm really scared to see if he does get claimed. Still not seeing anybody intriguing. Michael Wong. That's ours as well, right? No, he's not. Shortstop. We have 3 shortstops already, but he could be a decent 4th. But he'd have to be on our major league roster. That's the thing with this. Huh. He would jump Stanley Oka and Mark Taguchi, which is not really what I need. Huh, what about outfielding wise? Doesn't seem like anything left fielding wise. Center fielding wise, not seeing anything either. Sosa isn't one. Zach DeJong's not. Guess that's a white guy. I'm almost certain on that. Yeah. Let me just go all players. Why is it showing Schilling and stuff like this way up at the top when they're so low overalls? What is it going to recommend me? A shortstop. So should I take Michael Wong here? You know what? Let's just get another shortstop just for depth purposes. I don't really care. And wow, Yokoyama did not go yet, which is kind of surprising. Also, shout out to Sean Burke. It's kind of funny. I just think of the NHL goalie from back in the day. Okay, let's skip selection here. And let's pray. Yep, Yokoyama didn't get taken. I'm really actually surprised on that. So that's good, because I was kind of scared that he was going to get taken after we, for some reason, left him eligible to get taken. He just didn't get taken. Really shocked on that. Okay. Let's continue to assimilate through this offseason. And also take a look at the upcoming draft class and all that. I hope it's a good draft for us, man. I really do. Because we need one of these good drafts. Eventually. But is it the year that we get a good draft? Renewable contracts. Sim to spring training. Do we even need anything on our roster yet or no? Like, how much pitchers and stuff do I got? Okay, we do still need a couple of things, as I kind of expected. So, let me get this all set up here. We need 6 more starting pitchers. We need 1 closer. And we need 1 second baseman. Alright. That's okay with me. I will make those decisions quite easily. So, if I go to free agency, let me just sign some players. And then I'm going to have to make some adjustments in between this. Or not in between, but afterwards. So there's the pitcher. We need 6 of these guys. Why do I need 6 pitchers? It's a lot. Just accept. Oh my goodness. Why do you want security? Oh, I just gave a guy a 4-year deal. Oops. Oh my goodness. Oh well. We have the money to spend for now. There you go. Thank you. Just accept the 1-year deal. So that's 3 pitchers so far. 4 pitchers. Hanson, you can accept that. And Miller. There you go. That's all the pitchers we need. We need a closer. There you go. I'm Let me just double check. Yeah, okay, that guy's not there. Second baseman, we need one as well. Perfect. Okay, so those guys all need to get lowered. So I'm going to quickly do some adjustments to our roster, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so I got everything ready and set up, except for the lineups and whatnot, but I'll wait till the start of the season, obviously, to do that. However, if we go to roster, you can see this is what we're rocking probably for the players in the MLB. So like Iwamura, Jung, Nguyen, Sato, Yamazaki, Koo, Tom Lee maybe even will be in the major leagues this year. He might get sent down. We'll see what he does in spring training, I guess. But a lot of players actually on our roster this season, which is really nice. The AA team is probably the most barren, though, as you can see in terms of prospects, because you have some guys that are in like the 50s and 60s, but there's also a lot of filler players on that roster, especially in terms of the pitching, which is kind of interesting. So I think the AA team will not do too well this season, but hopefully a lot of the guys that we did draft to get some good growth playing there and get to AAA as soon as possible. But anyways, let's simulate to the start of the regular season, and then let's make sure we have our lineup set up the way we want to, which honestly right now we'll probably just go based on batting, or not batting average, in terms of overall, I think is what we'll go with for now. Obviously, if the second half of the season, if people are doing bad, we could adjust it accordingly. But for now, we're just going to go off overall simply and hope that that helps us out a little bit here. De Jesus playing first base. Brian Shin should be in the outfield, but Sasaki's there. Can Shin play any other positions? You just don't play outfield. Okay. Tom Lee, Philip Nishi shouldn't be in the major leagues yet. He should not be in the major leagues yet for sure. So we got to send Nishi down. Oh, I hate all this micromanagement, but let's send him down to AAA. So Philip Nishi will be in triple. That's good. And let me go back to lineup here. And we will get Sasaki, or not Sasaki, we'll get Shin in because Sasaki was a Rule 5 pickup, so it doesn't matter too much. Takashi as a backup catcher is okay. He would be in against lefties. That's actually okay too. With Yamazaki jumping up, so we'll do that. What am I doing here? Oh, okay, there you go. Actually, I'll put David Sasaki there instead. Let's readjust this again. And 71, 73, and we need another 71 up here. Oh yeah, this is the other lineup, so there is no 76. So we'll readjust it like that. I think that should be good. Yeah, it's good in the major leagues. It looks like AAA and AA. Let's make sure our prospects are in, which all of them are. Once again, we'll readjust this just based on overall to start the season, because I think that's probably the best setup we could do for now. So we'll do that. I could definitely do this based on like contact hitting and all that stuff, but I'm not going to go super in depth with it just yet. Eventually at some point we will, but not at the moment. And that should be good again. Perfect. So AA is good. AAA. Let's get everybody in their right spots as well. That should be good. Nishi should be in instead of Ortiz, which means he needs to climb the lineup. That's all good. Perfect. Nice and ready to go there. This needs to go down. This needs to go up. There's so many friggin' things you have to do to set up the season. But it is what it is. That should be good too. Perfect. That is set up and ready to go for every single league. Pitching rotation wise, the MLB team is starting to look pretty nice in terms of pitching. Like we're actually getting all of our prospects in these spots, which is nice. Fujinami dropped to a 55. I didn't even realize that. Jeez. That's okay. We'll get Sato in as a long reliever. Tom Koo in as a... Doesn't he have good stamina? No, he has bad stamina. He's going to be a mid reliever. So we'll go like that. So Tom Koo and Sato in there. Reader could still be the closer for now. Technically, I could use Philip Chung as a closer in the MLB, but I'm going to wait a little bit on him. And yeah, you can see basically in AA that there's literally no starting pitcher prospects anymore, which is not the best, but it is what it is. Let's just make sure some of our prospects are actually used as relievers like they should be. 24, I guess we'll go with you up there. Yeah, that should be fine. Eric Yamamoto is the closer. I don't know if I want him as the closer. Let's go with Choi still as the closer. And we will sub... Who should I use as a setup guy? I guess I'll use Wong Yang Chen because he has the lowest potential of the bunch. And then this is good there. We have relievers on these spots, so that's fine. Yamato as a setup guy, no thank you. I'd rather move somebody that's not a prospect to that spot. That's good. Okay, perfect. We're all actually set up and ready to go now. Which means, let me actually make sure we have our scouts that we had last year. Yes, we have the exact same scouts. Okay, that's good. Let's simulate through a week of the season, or however long it takes us to actually start scouting out the upcoming draft class. I believe it's at the end of the first week. Auto on this. Wow, we actually won our first game of the season. That's actually insane. I think that's the first time that's happened in franchise history. Leonard Soto got credited with the victory. Okay, well, we won our first game of the year. That's really cool to see. But we want to go through the first week of action, so let's do that. And we've won 2 games already this year. Hey, this might be the best season yet in franchise history. We have 3 wins in our first 8 games. Last year we had 7 wins combined. Is this the year that this team does well? Stan Nguyen's off to a fantastic start. Jeez, I'm not going to take a look at that till next episode. But let's take a look at this upcoming draft class. We have the 4th overall selection. And I'm hoping that this year's draft has us some good batters. Let's see what there is available to us. Okay. Well, let's see. Is there any good Asian talent in this draft class that wants to surprise us? There's probably going to be some guys that were in former draft classes that are going to jump into it, but I guess after I'm done recording this episode, I'll double check to make sure some of these guys aren't from Asian countries with white names, but Corey Min? Yep, Corey Min. Corey Min is the first baseman. I don't mind that, but still not insane. That is at least a infielder. There's also William Bake, who we saw last year, I think. If I remember right, shortstop. Okay, so there's a couple early on, which is nice. What else we got here? Are you Asian? No, you're from Canada, of course. What else we got here? So there's 2 so far. Russell Lim, another first baseman. That's 18. Might be worth scouting for sure. Okay, so this draft class might have more than last year, which is good, but, once again, it's not really in the areas we need. Shout out to Jack Mack. What a name. Jack Mack. There's always so much meme names in this game. Okay. Jack Mack. And oh my goodness, are you serious? There was Louis, and now there is Louise. What the heck is this game, man? This game literally throws every single, like, meme name at me as possible. Well, we started with looking at Louis stats, and now we're looking at Louise. What the hell, man? This is such a weird game. There's Pete Quo, who we saw last year. He's up to 22 years old now, though. Still looks like not the best draft class, but I think it's still at least better than last year because there's a lot of guys actually supposed to go in the top 200, which means more options for us to take, like Tommy Lim, who's a reliever. So there is more relievers again in this draft class, but I don't really need relievers, but we might have to take more of them. Any other intriguing guys to scout out this year? We're only like halfway through this list so far, so... there's Tom Cho, a relief pitcher. Or not a relief pitcher, a right fielder. Actually, that's nice. We don't have a lot of outfielders, so... That's a guy I could take. Charles Morai, I think is... Yeah, I think this guy would count. I think. I'd have to double check on that afterwards, but... Any other names that are worth taking? Let's see. There's Philip Irabu, so another Irabu. There's a lot of relievers again in this draft class, and as I always say, there's like too much of them, and there's not enough infielders or catchers and stuff like that. There's Brian Hu, who's another first baseman. This year's draft class might have some good first basemen in it. There's also Koji Yamazaki again, who's actually supposed to go in the top 200, so there's maybe actually a chance we could draft him this time around, because last year I think I was thinking about drafting him, if I'm not mistaken. What else we got here for names? Yeah, there's definitely a lot more options this year's draft than last year's. William Lin, another relief pitcher, but supposed to go not drafted, so he might disappear from the class. Sal Chen as well, who's not supposed to get drafted. A right fielder, it's probably worth scouting out, just in case. Maybe he's actually supposed to go in the top 200. There's Michael Yamamoto. We have so much Yamamotos and guys with the letter Y as their first part of their last name, which is weird. Alan Sasaki, another Sasaki as well. I think I looked at him last year, if I remember right. Yeah, a lot more Asians in this draft class, which is great. But not necessarily in the areas we need, but at least some of them are infielding-wise. David Key. I think I remember him from last year. Anybody else? We're near the end of the draft class. The closer pitchers from last year should be still there, I would hope. But you never know. Walter Lee, I remember him from last year, I'm pretty sure. Vincent Wong. Why are they all relievers, literally? It's like one area I definitely don't really need much of, but it is what it is. Michael Wattenby, a closing pitcher. Ooh, he's definitely worth scouting out. He's actually from Illinois, but definitely worth scouting out. Could be a 99 potential, and we could use more closers. Michael Wattenby could be great. He could be like the Philip Chung from a number of years ago. So that's really nice to see that there's a good closer that could be draft eligible. And looks like that other guy must have disappeared from the draft to start off with, which means he might have been a free agent. I can't remember what his name was, though, or else I would look for him. I'll have to look in between episodes or something like that, but I think that is pretty much it. Let me just double check on this. Stan Nguyen's off to a fantastic start in the MLB. Holy crap, man. He might end up being like a Rookie of the Year candidate if he continues like that. Winning his first 2 games like that. Jeez. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will scout out the Year A draft a bit more. And we're off to our best start in franchise history this season. We're 3-5 in our first 8 games. Maybe we're actually going to have an okay season. But obviously, it's still not playoff bound yet. It's probably because our pitching rotation is actually starting to take form. And we have some young guys in terms of batting. So excited to see what the team simulates like. And also excited to see what we end up finding out about this year's draft class. So anything down below. And I'll see you guys next time.